did, yes. Let's just get right into it. Can I keep it real with y'all tonight? Okay, show of hands, who's ever been poor? I grew up mayonnaise sandwich poor. Like the little crusty heel butt in the bags. We were like eating butt, but not really because that's a different show, right? We were really poor. But I feel like I've evolved now. In my new life as an entrepreneur, I can spring for the $11 sandwich like I did today for lunch. Can y'all clap for that, please? Yes. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I've been doing a ton of research on poverty. And y'all said I could keep it real with you tonight, right? So let's keep it real about poverty. So the World Bank defines extreme poverty as living on less than $1.90 a day. And in 1980, 44% of the world's population was living in extreme poverty. So I'm like, what's that number now? Did a little more searching. 10.7%. Not bad, right? 44% down to 10.7%. Let's give it up. Clap it up for progress, please. And then I'm like, no, that's bullshit too. Let me dig a little deeper. That can't possibly be real, right? Because like, what can you buy with $1.90? In Portland, what's that, like half a cup of coffee, maybe some potato chips? So I'm like, okay, what's the real numbers behind this? Recent studies show that the global ethical poverty line is actually at about $5 a day. Still crazy low. So let's use that $5 number to look at poverty from the lens of what's real. So it turns out, y'all, 4.3 billion people are living in debilitating poverty around the world. That's more than 60% of humanity, 60%, which is also nearly 1 billion more people who've joined the ranks of the world's poor since that 1980 number. Okay, but I'm like, nah, it couldn't have always been like this, right? Because I'm like, about 500 years ago, things were pretty even when we think about economics and the living standards around the world. Then this one dude came up. Y'all know Christopher Columbus, right? In 1492, he sailed the ocean blue, and he kickstarted two things: colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade. So colonialism has three main goals: land, loot, and labor. Cheap labor devastated the world, not just the Americas, not just Africa, but all around the world. And it turns out when Columbus discovered the New World, somewhere between 12 and 15 million enslaved Africans were shipped across the Atlantic until slavery was abolished in 1865. Thank God. So today, the USA gets to be the richest, most powerful country in the history of the world, but also the most unequal. Because you all know, like I know, the spoils of the empire always go back to the very tiny minority at the top of the economic pyramid. Just this time, instead of like sexy feudal lords and kings, they've been replaced by CEOs, corporate shareholders, and the too big to fail bankers. So if I'm really keeping it real with y'all tonight, folks, let's be honest. Rich countries like ours thrive from violently exploiting people, stealing land, and they've destroyed the natural resources of the world to get here. Turns out, to make peace with sins of the past, they give less than 1% of their annual tax revenue per year to foreign aid. We know that's bullshit. So instead of using words like aid and charity, why don't we just use the word justice? Economic and environmental justice. And not just for people in foreign countries in the developing world, but also for the 41 million people living in poverty right here in the USA. That's my time. Y'all been great. Stay woke, bitches.